as he is on Wednesdays from the Boston Globe, it's Ben Volin. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. I embrace Troll and Volin, but I feel like I'm Benny Sunshine this week. I'm just like Mr. Positive about moral victories, and the Patriots are looking good.
The Lambeau shirt is a little hard, but
I'm not a fan of the Packers. I'm a fan of Lambeau Field.
Okay.
Were you there?
I was
Sunday?
there. It's a heck of a place.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. If the governor has his way, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts may not get happy hour, but we did get Zappe hour.
There you go.
On Sunday, and we will most likely, I guess, get it again this Sunday at Gillette.
That's what I'm thinking. The fact that they're signing Garrett Gilbert, to me, is not a good sign that Mac is ready to play. If Mac were ready to come back to practice this week, you wouldn't need an extra quarterback.
It was ridiculous that he was telling his teammates he wanted to be out there. I mean, do you buy that, by the way? Was he actually saying that to guys?
I mean, I do buy it, but I think that was part of him being a young guy trying to prove that he's a leader, he's tough, he's there for his team, he's still going to be out at practice. And, if we control the media too, I guess that's an added benefit. But I do wonder how much Belichick was involved. Was this just Mac doing his thing, or was this coordinated? Because if it was a coordinated, let's troll the media, kind of pathetic. It worked well when they were winning with Brady, but playing those games last week was just kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, the tendency or the desire, if you're a fan here, is to look at the Bailey Zappe situation like the Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe situation. But I don't think we have that. We don't know that we have that yet in Bailey Zappe, correct?
No, I would wait at least one more game before comparing him to Tom Brady.
Okay. All right.
Just one more. One more.
But do you think that there's a situation between Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappe where I think Bailey Zappe could overtake Brian Hoyer in that backup role?
I think he should. I think Bailey Zappe showed enough that he should be your backup going forward. You've got more of a future with him than Brian Hoyer, and I thought Zappe did great. I mean, considering he'd never even been active for an NFL game, this was the first time he's dressing. They throw him in there in Lambeau Field on the road, and he did a good job. He didn't pee down his leg. He actually comported himself pretty well, made a few nice throws. No, I thought the coaches did a good job. They really simplified it, and it was like handoff, play action, handoff, play action. Yeah. So they did a good job managing
that will be what they will do Sunday as well?
Well, I would hope they'd have a little more in store, because now they actually have a week to kind of prepare, and so they can come up with a few other things. They can work on it during the week. I heard a rumor that Zappe did get a lot more work at practice last week, that him and Hoyer almost split the reps. So he did get some work, but it's different when you're the guy getting all the reps and they're actually designing the game plan around you.
What about Bill Simmons or others suggesting that it is Robert Kraft who prefers Bailey Zappe to Brian Hoyer? Do you buy that?
It might be true, but I remember Robert Kraft was going to talk to Bill and tell him to play Kendrick Bourne, and then Kendrick Bourne was still, stuck on the bench in week 2. So I think that whole aspect can be overblown. I'm sure Kraft, he might prefer Bailey Zappe, but I still think Kraft gives Belichick the latitude to make his own decisions. But Zappe, like I said, he's your future, and rewatch, at least as backup. I mean, he's your future as backup. But rewatching the game, there's some genuine love for Zappe among the coaching staff. He came off the field after his touchdown pass, huge bear hug with Matt Patricia. They showed him on the bench doing like a playful shove of Joe Judge. Like, when are you ever able to shove your coaches?
Right.
Yeah. And Jim Nantz even said in the production meeting on Saturday, he, quote, "We spent a lot of time with Belichick talking about Bailey Zappe."
Right.
So I do think they love, this is a kid who played at Western Kentucky and Houston Baptist, and I'm sure is just happy to be here, and he's in the NFL.
Well, I mean, in your mind, I guess I will ask the two noted Mac Jones haters on the show, Scheim and Wiggy.
Hello.
Are there differences between these two guys when it comes to physical ability between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe that you guys see?
No, I don't see it. Skill set, Zappe might be a little bit more athletic, but not by a wide margin. I do believe, based over these next 5 weeks and the opponents that they play, that if Zappe is somehow able to go out there, manage the offense, not turn the ball over, and they're able to go, let's say, 4-1, that you will have a real decision on who is going to start when Mac comes back.
So you see in the Twitch chat, some are saying that Zappe's arm is light years better than the arm.
I wouldn't say light years. Light years is taking it way too far. Like it is, I would say Zappe's tools are marginally better, but it's not like significant enough. I think Mac's advantage is he's played in the NFL for a year now. I just think Bailey Zappe, in my opinion, has a better aura about him when he's on the field. And I think that matters. I think that matters to other players and coaches.
Meaning what?
He's not a dink.
Mac is a whiner, and he's always frustrated.
One of my biggest criticisms of Patrick Mahomes at times is he feels very dinkish. And I think in a
Mac
way
Jones is not a dink.
I think you need that
Mahomes
to be good.
Could be a
but
dink to me any day.
By the way,
Mac Jones is
a word that should be utilized way more often.
Yeah.
Dink.
Yeah, underrated.
Yeah.
When it comes
Very
to
much.
How would you exactly define dink?
I would say that Dink Volin arrived here today in a Prius.
Well, but
I'd go home now, Greg. You are just killing it.
But Greg, Ben's right though. It's not about whether or not the guy's a dink, right? It's when you look at Bill and you've
Do you
been.
think he's a dink?
I think he's a tennis brat. I wouldn't call him a dink.
Right.
I'd call him a
If
tennis
you
brat.
asked how to
Okay.
define dink, I would
that's
define
good.
it as a tennis
Okay.
brat.
Right.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Like kind of throws little hissy fits when things don't
Right.
go his way,
Huh.
and so I get what Scheim is saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one
Okay.
thing that Bill does not like, and I think it's coming across on how we see the relationship, is Bill does not want a guy who's going to buck the system a little bit. And it might be in a way that it's like not a negative way, but why are we calling this play? Why are we doing that? I think we should do this where Bailey Zappe is basically wet behind the ears.
Yeah.
And not a Mac Jones Alabama player who feels like in his mind that maybe he's better than he's getting credit for. That's why you see some of the love between the coaches that they think about.
Because if we buy what you have been saying, that Kendrick Bourne, Mac Jones, others,
Hunter Henry.
have been disgruntled
Yep.
when it comes to the offense and to maybe Matt Patricia running it, then you're not going to get that from Bailey Zappe. Right?
Definitely not. He definitely has a happy to be here vibe, and he should be. I mean, he's like I said, he played at Houston Baptist and Western Kentucky, and he will do whatever the coaches tell him. And I think Mac was like that last year, but now Mac, he made the Pro Bowl. He's got a little bit of juice, That said, there is still, I think, a significant difference in level of quarterback play between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe.
Well, right now, though. But over these next 5
Yeah.
weeks, if you start to see, the difference isn't that significant, and then you go, well, is it better to have a guy that might kind of, feel like he's arrived versus a guy we can control and is going to do basically whatever we tell
And
him?
if he has a good next 4 or 5 weeks, then you go to the bye, then they go back to Mac Jones. If Mac Jones is a tennis brat and he's got Bailey Zappe breathing down his neck, he hears fans all over saying that
Right.
we love Zappe.
Right.
The coaches all love him, clearly. That could get into his head. All we've heard about Mac is that he's a bit of a head case.
Well, I want to get in his head if I'm Bill Belichick. If I'm trying to figure out if this guy's my franchise
Right.
quarterback, I want to put some pressure on it. When did Tom Brady do his best? When Jimmy Garoppolo gets drafted and there was heat on him. I want to see Mac Jones rise to the occasion. So that's why I liked the Bailey Zappe pick. A 4th-round pick. He's not going to push Mac. I mean, kind of. This is the exact situation. Mac is hurt. Bailey comes in. Now, look, I still think you are a much better offense with Mac Jones. And look, Wiggy, your scenario, what if they go 4-1? Then I mean, realistically, I think what the real controversy is what if they win a couple games, and then are you better off with Bailey Zappe or a 75% Mac Jones? Are you better off with Mac? Do we want to put him in this week? Should we wait another week? That's what the controversy is going to end up being. Is it Bailey Zappe or a not quite 100% Mac Jones? And that's probably a few weeks down
But
the
what
road.
if Zappe statistically, let's say he throws 5 or 6 touchdowns and he has 0 interceptions and he's taking care of the football and maybe he's not throwing for 280 yards a game, then it goes back to how I believe coaches think, and then they start looking at, okay, how much of an upgrade is Mac, and then factor in the personality versus Zappe and the personality that he has, and that becomes a huge part of it. Bill Belichick moved on from Drew Bledsoe, who had just signed a $100 million contract, and it wasn't like Brady was ripping it up. And when Drew got back and he got healthy and decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with Brady. Now, there's that chance that he can, if he's done it with a guy who was the guy in Bledsoe, we all thought that versus Mac Jones is where still the jury's out on him.
I just don't think that you can, as Scheim said, that you can declare after one game that the guy is skill set wise is a better athlete than Mac Jones is.
Honestly, I think athletically they're probably the same. They both aren't great runners. They're not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen out there. Neither of them has a huge arm or a big physically imposing stature. So I think physically they're similar.
5'1" or something. Scheim is taller than him.
And you think decision-making Mac Jones better?
Yes, just poise in the pocket, seeing the field, being calm in the pocket, knowing how to go through some of your reads, pushing the ball downfield. I mean, Zappe, he kind of turtled a little bit in the pocket the other day, which I'm not crushing the guy. Like, understandable for your first start. But, I mean, Mac is still significantly better, and they don't have to manage him nearly the way they have to manage Zappe. But you know what? Wiggy makes a good point. It was just his first game. What if he gets more comfortable? I mean, you look at what's happening in Dallas.
Right.
You win games with Cooper Rush. All of a sudden, it gives you the luxury of being a lot more patient with Dak Prescott and his thumb injury. So if they can win some games, it's still going to be Mac's job, but it allows you to push off the decision on when to bring him back.
I'll be interested to see what ratings-wise things look like after this upcoming game, because a little bit of a bump once Zappe went in, and I said that last week. I said people are going to tune in to see what Zappe can do, because all we've talked about is that ratings are down for these Patriots games. Local, this past week, they were up a little bit.
Well, that was a 425 window against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, the number one game of the week.
Okay, well, you can look into it as however you want, but I think you go into against Detroit.
They're going to go way down this weekend.
Well, let's see, because I think that a lot of people are going to tune in to see if Bailey Zappe is the real deal.
Isn't this like the perfect opportunity for Zappe, though, Ben? Like, he gets the Detroit defense, literally the worst defense in football. Like, if they're going to let him sling it and really see what he can do, like, this is the absolute perfect week to find out.
No doubt. You're getting the arguably statistically the worst defense in NFL history through the first 4 weeks. So every Lions game is a track meet. The flip side of that, Scheim, though, has me worried that the Lions with Goff are averaging 35 points a game, and they just go up and down every week. Do you have enough with Bailey Zappe to maybe keep up with the Lions to have to score 3 or 4 touchdowns? Or actually, I think the Belichick defense might be able to shut down the Lions. I think the Lions' streak on offense might end this Sunday.
Speaking of defense, Ty Law on this show yesterday told Jack Jones to shut up. How do you feel about that?
Well, you got to love what he did. I mean, only 4 players in NFL history have gotten a pick 6 on Aaron Rodgers, and the strip, the forced fumble and recovery too was fantastic. And look, for a 4th round cornerback, he's doing great so far. He's looking like a really solid pick. But yeah, you're just asking to get picked on by other quarterbacks now if you keep celebrating. And watching that game, a couple things. He did give up a decent number of grabs, and then he goes for the strip a lot and misses the tackle and gives up a lot of yards after the catch. So we focus on the turnovers, but I feel like on a play-to-play basis, he still does have a little bit of ways to go. So he should be careful about how much he celebrates.
But I almost feel like Bill coaches his secondary up that way. Go for the strip, try to knock the ball out. You know, obviously you want to tackle him, get him on the ground, but like whether it's Jonathan Jones, whether it's McCourty at times, it's like that. Or even we've seen in years past with Gilmore and Malcolm Butler. I think they kind of maybe, will say, all right, you went for the strip because they're so good at it. You know what I mean? So I think Bill gives them a pass, especially in the secondary.
The defense was really – I know there's a lot of heat on them. They couldn't get a stop in the red zone. Aaron Rodgers diced him in the second half. The game came down to a bunch of third down plays. The Patriots consistently got them in third down, and then Rodgers took over. I mean,
and that's what Ty Law was saying is basically you can start pounding your chest when you can stop them on third down in the second half.
Or you can show week in and week out that you can go out there, Jack Jones, and make plays like that. It's great to have one game like that, but then you don't want to be like, oh, can't nobody throwing out against me, because you know what they're going to do next week? Out and up,
But the kid's a playmaker.
Yeah.
You got to respect him. I love his length, like just his body type. The Patriots always have had a big, lanky corner like that. So, they've struggled so badly over the years with those cornerbacks and DBs in the second round and third round. If they could actually find a corner in the fourth round, that'd be a really nice feather in Belichick's cap.
Looks like a pretty good draft pick by the GM of this franchise.
Last week was a banner. Sunday was a banner day for the draft class. You had Marcus Jones with all those big returns, setting him up in overtime.
Isaiah Wynn looked great.
So what's the solution there?
They got to bench him. And Wynn is getting crushed every week, and I'm at the forefront of that. But again, it's another decision that's on the coaches. They're the ones who decided to put him at right tackle when he's never played that position before.
Right.
And you talk to offensive linemen, it's like trying to learn how to write with your left hand. Everything is backwards. Your footwork is backwards. And you saw that against the Packers the other day. He was just getting blown around the edge. He wasn't quick enough with that first step. It's a different technique than he's used to. I mean, he got Hoyer crushed.
Right. Zappe.
Got Hoyer crushed twice, got Zappe crushed, and then he's committing false starts. He's holding. He's just an issue. I think Marcus Cannon got enough work last week that they got to put Marcus Cannon in.
But that may be on Bailey Zappe, because he was on the afternoon show the other day saying that as soon as he got in that game, he told Isaiah Wynn to tell him every time in the huddle that it was just a game. And so maybe Isaiah Wynn was distracted by that responsibility.
Right. He's like trying to tell him, well, it's a game. Oh, I completely forgot. I got to block this guy here. But I think he's
too busy comforting Bailey Zappe to focus
forgetting
on
who
blocking.
he has to block. But I think that it'll probably be Cannon. But what they should have did is I probably would have put him at Isaiah Wynn at guard, because he played guard in college. Yeah. And Michael Onwenu played tackle for the Patriots in years past. And maybe you put him there and you go, let's see how things work out. And it's a little bit easier to pass protect from the guard spot than it is from the tackle position, and take some of the stress off of him. But now I think, do they put Cannon in, or are they so invested in, what do they pay him, like $10 million this year? Where can you even bench him?
I think you can, because I think Belichick is smart enough to know that you're paying Wynn $10 million whether he's on the bench or on the field. And if he's hurting you on the field, I don't care how much he's making. You got to take him off. So he's really been hurting them with pre-snap penalties, really poor technique.
Yeah, but
his
what about
quarterbacks
Aguilar? If Aguilar was anybody else with those fumbles early on this year, there's no way he'd see the same run that he's seen. And that's based, in my opinion, based on his contract, that he's making $11-12 million.
Well, I think it's more just they have no one else. They have to play Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar.
But they don't play Bourne.
But he's still not playing Bourne.
Right.
Bourne got 25 snaps the other
How many
day.
did Aguilar
still
get?
the least.
Well, Aguilar's ahead of him on the depth chart. That's the other thing about Zappe too, is they were really limited. When they lost Jonnu Smith, so they only had one tight end for him. They were down Jacoby Myers too, so just really basic personnel. This week they're probably going to get Myers back. They'll have a little bit more in the game plan for Zappe. So that was a really tough spot for him. Shorthanded. Going into a fight with Aaron Rodgers with a butter knife, basically, and he comported himself very well.
And are we learning this year, Greg, that it really is about guys buying in, and the ones who buy in, even if they maybe are not doing as well as we want them to do, or is it those are the guys who are going to play? Because even the Kendrick Bourne, if you're not buying in with Matt Patricia, and this is why I say that there might be a little something that could potentially be bubbling under the surface with Mac Jones. If you're not buying Hunter Henry, maybe he didn't really buy in, and that's why his snaps early in the season.
But Wiggy, when you won the championship with Bill Belichick as your head coach, it was a meritocracy.
Okay.
Like, you were on the field because you deserved it, because you played the best.
Right.
And Tom Brady was playing better than Bledsoe, so he got the job. And Mike Vrabel played, and McGinnis, and Matt Light, you name it, up and down that roster. Richard Seymour was a rookie. He earned his time, on the defensive line. Why has that shifted? Why is it no longer a meritocracy?
Because I think when you look at those days, it was about people were buying in, and if you weren't, you were doing it behind closed doors, and it was never getting back to, like, no one was saying anything to Charlie Weiss, because Charlie Weiss had been around and he had coached offense before, where I think nowadays And that locker room was different. We had guys like Willie Mack and Teddy and Lawyer that policed that locker room and made sure.
Told people to shut their mouth.
Yeah, we talk about Jack Jones. He makes a great play. But if he then goes back in the media and says something, there's guys like Willie Mack like, listen here, young buck, keep your goddamn mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Because now this might put more pressure on us on defense. And guys knew that, right? And so I think that's the difference. But now, I don't know if they have that guy in the locker room. And it seems like how many guys are really buying into whatever Matt Patricia is putting out there? You know, offensive scheme, system, philosophy. And the ones that might not be buying in might be a little bit more vocal in messages getting back to the coaches.
Yeah, but wouldn't you argue the last 2 weeks that it seems everything's trending positive with Matt Patricia in the offense? They've actually done fairly well.
Well, yeah, I think they have, but they're running the ball well. But I'm talking about more of the Kendrick Bourne situation.
They lost back-to-back games and were having a parade for the offensive play calling.
Well, it's just it hasn't been as disastrous as we thought it would be.
As many said it would be.
No, it's just
if Matt could stop throwing interceptions,
it is just the
probably
most
beat the Ravens.
unique offense in football.
Well, why are they encouraging 50-50 balls? That never was the case before, and that's probably the reason they're throwing more picks.
Well, that's what Mac says. Mac says they're encouraging 50-50. But let's hear from Bill on that.
Ben Volin is here. Can you hang till 9?
Let's hang.
Ben Volin is here from the Boston Globe. Rob Nikovich of ESPN will join us in about 10 minutes. And some of us were aghast yesterday on this program when we heard him say that he will not allow his sons to play football. That surprise you?
A little bit because he went through it, but not really because I think he went through it and he knows. He knows better than anyone how brutal this sport is. And, you know, I hate to say it, but it's becoming like a socioeconomic sport. It's a way for guys to improve their socioeconomic. And so, the guys who are athletes who grow up of means are going to go towards safer sports, and guys who need to get out of their situation and improve it are going to play football. And that's unfortunately what it's going to become.
Is there some obligation when it comes to society to say to those individuals, you're putting your brain at risk in pursuit of the $20 million and the opportunity to get out of your socio
and take care of your family? They're going to be like, yeah, beat it. I'm trying to take care of you got to understand where some of these guys come from. This is their way out. From the time that they can walk, this is their way out. And, I played with guys like that in high school. I
think one of those guys is on the phone.
Yeah.
Did you mention Bunny?
I did mention Bunny.
All right, we'll get to Bunny. But anyway, you played with guys like that.
Yeah, where their way out was through sports, right? And, unfortunately, some of them got caught up in the street life. And like I always tell my kids, the streets are undefeated. But this is their way of getting out. They're not thinking about head trauma, knee injuries, back injuries, that kind of stuff. They're thinking about, how do I survive? How do I feed my family? How do I make it out of this environment that I'm in? And what do we know? It don't cost much to buy a pair of cleats, and it don't cost much to buy some sneakers and a basketball. That's why you see so many inner city kids that lean towards basketball and football, because this is their way out potential.
You don't think any of the guys that were on the field when they saw Tua's hands all seized up, none of those guys were standing there watching that and saying, damn, I really hope that doesn't happen to me, and maybe second guess?
Nope. They feel bad they feel bad for the situation.
You got to have a feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Yeah. You feel bad for what's going on, and you're hoping that he can at least move, and that it's not. Guys are not looking at, is it a head injury? They're like, as long as it's not a neck injury and he can move. I think that's the biggest concern that players have. And then once they see that, then you know what they do? They go back out there and they play the game.
What is it? You've been covering football for a long time. What is it we were talking about this yesterday also. Before
you get to Ben, can I just say something? Yeah. I see Greg and I listen to things like this and I worry about my future.
Bruins Thursday here. What is it in your mind about this moment and this Tua injury that is different from any other concussion or debilitating injury that we have seen on the football field in the past when it comes to the NFL?
I guess the difference is that he took a big hit and then he came in the game 5 minutes later. And this was 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, where we've been conditioned now where a guy takes a hit like that, he's done for the day. And so I think a lot of people were like, what is he doing back in the game so quickly? And then you heard the Dolphins say, well, he passed a concussion. It was just a back injury. And a lot of people were like, that didn't look like a back injury. And then 4 days later, a really bad one, which a lot of people think may have been caused by him not being fully recovered from the first hit. And there's still a lot that the NFL and the union have to sort out. I think the doctors are getting a little unfairly maligned here. I think the real issue is more with the actual rules and the protocols and the loopholes that are in it than look, maybe the Dolphins doctors were negligent, but I'd like to see the results of all this. But I think the difference is that Tua went back in the game when I think everyone who was watching it was like, what is he doing there? That was a real surprise. And the NFL has to clean that up. The protocols, they still let the team doctor make the decision. And again, these team doctors are very respectable doctors. No one wants to see their patients get hurt, but there's an inherent conflict of interest there. They need to figure out a way to let some independent guy make that determination. The team doctor should not have that responsibility.
All right, last one for you, Ben. Does the potential extraction of Giselle from Tom Brady's life open up a return here to New England for Tom Brady?
I thought you were going to say, does it open up a chance for me with Giselle?
It might.
Maybe.
You got to wife first.
You have a lot of things in common. She is very concerned about the environment.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
And head injuries.
Yes,
And that's where it ends.
Exactly.
but that's the only thing.
That is it.
They're both celebrities.
Oh man! If we see an opinion piece ripping Brady in the Globe, we know who sent the info.
Do we think that
Benzel
Brady
would be their celebrity couple name? Benzel, I kind of like that.
That's fantastic.
Would you want to date someone 2 feet taller than you?
Yeah, I'd crane my neck a little bit there. Where were we going with this? Was Brady? Did he leave New England because Giselle wanted him to, and Brady really loved it here? But is that why Brady left? Because I think that when he said he moved to Tampa, he's like, I'm never living in a cold weather city ever again. He kind of crapped on Boston a little bit. So I just hope that. Look, I hope everything works out okay, and it's never fun for the kids. So I feel for the kids, but if this goes through and he does get divorced, I hope he plays 5 more years. I hope he plays till age 50. Yeah, push it. Like, let's go. Let's see it. It's never been done before. It'll never happen again.
I mean, you think that that's what this is really about? Is it really, when you get down to it, is it about him wanting to play football and Giselle not wanting to play football?
I think that's part. I think it's just Giselle and Tom are two ultra alpha kind of selfish people who want to do their thing. And for Brady, it's not just football, but his Brady brand and his whole whatever. And I think Giselle was looking for more of a family man, and that's not where Brady is right now.
Yeah. All right. Ben Volin, always great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
So who do you like Sunday?
I like the Patriots. I think even with Zappe, I'm happy for Zappe. I think the Lions are going to get a wake-up call. This playing an outdoor game against the Belichick defense. I think the Patriots are going to shut down the Lions, and it's going to be a long day for Jared Goff. So, I don't think we're going to have a quarterback controversy. I don't think he's going to play his way into the starting job, but I think Zappe's going to get it done. I think the Patriots are going to beat the Lions.